Hello everyone, No Respawns here. Hope you're having a grand week. So very excited to bring you On the Edge, which is the latest expansion to Frostpunk, a game I adore and have featured on the channel quite a few times. So this dropped today. I was lucky enough to get a review key from the developers. I've been playing it for the last few days, and in vain of the previous videos I've done this, I wanted to do early Outpost starting guide, get you set up and ready to actually kind of tackle the scenario without necessarily giving you a kind of step-by-step meta of exactly what you have to do, otherwise you'll fail miserably. With that in mind, this video is aimed at people just kind of playing on normal mode and just looking to get some kind of best practice tips. This isn't focused on extreme mode, where to us you do really need to play a meta, and to be honest, may need to make quite a lot of decisions that you don't necessarily need to make in the actual more forgiving modes. You might find some useful tips if you're looking to play at that kind of mode, but realistically, this video won't necessarily be for you. Also, with that in mind, this scenario is a little bit more narrative than the others, and the narrative is kind of key to the new survival elements they've added in, or the challenges rather. So if you're looking to go into the scenario completely unspoiled and not know anything, it might be better to play the scenario first yourself, see what I'm talking about, and then come back. I just want to put that out there because I will have to mention story things. But anyway, let's get to work. So it's quite, it's a much smaller area than some of the other scenarios, which isn't actually a problem because you're sort of not building as much. But you don't really realise you're not building as much, which is why I quite like it. So let me just quickly pause. So you see, for those who haven't actually looked at what this new scenario is focusing on, is you've got this big army warehouse here. And it's full of steel, as you can see. And pretty much the main core of why you're here initially is to actually harvest resources from this place, initially steel and then very shortly afterwards steam core, and send them to New London. See, this is set after the Great Storm, so there's New London there. You can't zoom into it, but you can see a wee picture of it. And this little place has been discovered, and you're kind of an outpost. And the gimmick is with this one, well, the gimmick doesn't do it justice, but the new twist on the scenario with this one is that you can't produce any of your own food, and you have a finite amount of wood as well. So you just have these trees here and these trees here and some kind of wood. So it's quite a lot. It's more than you realise. It's about probably, I would say, maybe 1,000 wood, possibly a bit more. But eventually you are going to run out, and you have to trade this steel because this is infinite, and it kind of faces a load of new challenges because of the fact that, you know, normally getting 100 steel, you're going to be like, oh, cool, 100 steel, what can I do with this? But in this instance, you will have to think, right, do I develop upon my camp with things that you will need to do, because it does get cold, you do need to develop your outpost, or do you trade it for food? It's quite an interesting mechanic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a couple of days, and I'm going to jump forward a little bit, and then jump forward a little bit again. So I've got a couple of saves already saved up in advance, so that way it's not like a 2-hour video. It shouldn't be too long. So I always open with the thing with this one, and for those of you who aren't massively familiar with Frostpunk, is realistically, if you get a strong opening to scenarios and kind of get a decent foothold, it makes every single the whole of the scenario a lot easier to manage, and that's sort of what these videos are focused on. It's kind of giving you a strong groundwork to work with. Obviously at harder difficulties, you know, obviously they're hard, and even the best laid plans of mice and men go awry. However, in this instance, it's medium. You can pretty much just, get a nice foothold, and then you basically get ahead, and once you start getting ahead, it means that you'll be able to, for example, buy better housing for everyone and all that jazz. So a couple of things you may notice: we don't have access to the Book of Laws just yet. So for a while, all of your laws will come directly from New London itself. You do get access to it eventually, so one of the things, and this will be me slightly spoilering, is the fact that initially you will be sending shipments to London, but the relationship with London will break down, and therefore you will have to start forging new relationships with other settlements. That's kind of the mid-game, and basically what you're doing towards the the big countdown until you contact, well, London contacts you again. So it's quite cool. Right. A little bit of a pro tip. Something to bear in mind with researching. When you open your first ever researching station, is it might take your people some time to get there. So it's not broken, it's just no one's there yet. I thought the game had crashed, and yeah, see, oh no, are they there yet? No, see, they're not there yet. Oh, are they there yet? Oh, okay, it didn't take them too long to get there. It can happen. I think they spent about 2-3 hours waiting last time, and I was really, really confused. But yeah, if you ever see it like it freezes for a while, it means that your engineers aren't there yet. It just happens for the initial bit, it's fine. Right, one thing as well with this scenario, you do actually start off with a beacon, and also the ability to only need, I can't really see that very well, but you need 5 scouts, and only needs 40 wood. I highly recommend getting a scout team up straight away, but you do only really need 1. You don't need 2 scout teams at all. Basically, if I just get these guys out here, I'll show you the actual map. You have a finite number of places. Each one of these leads to about 2, maybe, yeah, I think about 2 areas. And if you rush them, that's absolutely fine. But one, you'll be spending research time getting another set of scouts. And also, some of these have people, survivors, that realistically you're going to want to bring back. And you don't want to bring those survivors back just yet, because you won't be able to support them. I mean, you would, but because obviously food is going to be finite, you want to, yeah, you want to kind of hold off getting more people. So one thing that's interesting about this one is that you don't really need people in such an urgent way. So because the resources are finite, so really, I only have a finite amount of wood, and I only have 1 coal mining deposit, it means that having more people can only do so much. You can get all of the wood really, really fast, but that's about it. And it's just quite an interesting change. Like, you will find a couple of times where you'll just have people doing nothing. Now, someone could argue, you could send them to do other stuff, but realistically, they kind of don't need to do anything. And it just, yeah, this is that. You look at this scenario in a completely different way, which is something I really like. So, I'm going to set up until the... I'm going to speed up time a little bit. So, temperature is an issue. Right, so the big thing with this is that you're going to need to making a transport depot and an administration, and you need to build a road to this. Now, once you've done that, London will send you a shipment. That shipment will contain your first batch of food, but also it will contain 15 children and some administrators as well. And 10 of those children will be sick. And so what happens is, and this is where it gets quite something that will surprise you, is you will already have quite a lot of sick people at that point because you don't have a generator. Now, you could probably get away with it by maybe slapping down some braziers, and that's something I've been tempted to do, but then you'd have to actually research them. It's actually better to just make sure that you have quite a lot of medical posts ready for when this group of people actually come to your outpost. But that's not the health section, David. This is actually a little bit of a kind of a generalist tip for Frostpunk as well. Is it's better to have loads of medical posts rather. I'll get there eventually. That you don't use, rather than having some that having like only what you need. So just put 2. You only put 1, but I tend to put 2 in there just because if one of these people is sick, it means it's always running. And then I turn this one off. I'm actually going to build 4, eventually probably 5, actually, just because to have that initial influx of sick people. But as just kind of a generalist Frostpunk rule, if you just got spare 25 wood, build another outpost. Basically, I always end up having, initially, 4 medical outposts open. Most of them are turned off, only one of them is actually on. And then eventually I'll replace 2 with an infirmary. And it's just it's better to have these ready and not need them than go, oh shit, people are sick, I need to suddenly build a load of medical outposts, and then suddenly people are going to start actually getting gravely ill, and it just kind of, it's better to be prepared. Best laid plans of mice and men. Don't forget to actually send them. So just a little tip with exploring. Go this way, go that way, and go that way. Because if you go this way, there's a load of survivors, and if you go that way, there's a load of survivors. You just don't need them yet, and it's better not to have that group of people who are going to be really annoying. So I've got the one gathering post here, because you've got these wooden ruins and these steel ruins. Just having one gathering post here is enough, because you will just slowly, well, not even slowly, but in a couple of days, get rid of all of these. There is an argument to be made to have more gathering posts, which I'm going to build one there and one there tomorrow. But that's only just to get, to preempt that cold, that drop in the temperature. You don't need any more than that. Some people tend to, I've seen some people play who only use gathering posts when they're actually working any resources. That's fine, I just think it's a little bit, that's when you hit the meta, if you get my point. About this as well, don't put any people into this until you've actually got all these bits, because they won't actually work. This doesn't function until you've got the administration on and the depot. On the subject of those as well, is you don't get a warning to make those until about the end of day 4. And you don't really need to make them just yet, because if you make them too early, then you won't be able to handle the influx of sick people, but also the sudden demands that New London bring upon you. So don't rush, basically. Get your houses set up, get some research and done, get those medical posts open. Right. So I've got a little bit of wood. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna research the sawmill. Usually I potentially go to drafting stations, but to be honest, it's not a massive rush. So one thing about the food here, you may notice I've not built a cookhouse yet. Now, one thing I liked about the scenario quite a lot is that because food, you just don't have enough food. You actually do have to start thinking about rationing it. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I've got some people who are free. You've actually got to think about rationing it. And that makes for a completely different dynamic, where you're basically not cooking the food until your people are hungry. You only want people to actually eat when they're hungry, at least initially, but potentially even later on as well. So for example, I could cook this food now, but I don't need to cook this food now because no one's hungry. So basically, I'll probably make the food house, the house today. But realistically, I won't actually need it probably until I probably could actually start getting to cook it in day 3. Okay. So I'm going to want to build all these houses. Instead, you may notice I didn't get a prompt to build houses. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Probably just because I quickly slap these down quite fast. If you want to really max out that hope, you can wait until people ask you to build houses before you build them, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Cool. If I do occasionally miss things, it's because I'm talking to you guys while also doing this. There's no point in assigning people, is there? Cool. Sawmill research, good. Brilliant. Now I'm going to do drafting station. So, looking at the technology tree here, first you'll notice that there's no food, so you cannot make any food. And once you've unlocked the actual army warehouse, you will get a load of research options here, and that involves kind of efficiency options with actually, I think it's in resources, it's there, and that'll basically enable you to actually make the army warehouse a little bit more efficient. So what I'm going to do, and the big challenges that happened for me outside of the normal survival elements, kind of the new ones they've added, is cold does creep up on you. And what I'm going to do is when I get to my day 17, I will actually have all houses. And another thing as well is that, as I said, you do want to, because cold does creep up on you, you do want to get this up and running.
you actually want to go kind of early-ish to the Steam Thumper. And when I first played, I did fine, but I liked eventually play again and do an efficient save, and mainly so I can make a decent video for you guys. And I found that making sure I had adequate medical as a redundancy, more than I even normally have, especially the intro part, was important. But also getting those houses and getting those insulation, because as long as because it doesn't get that cold. It's not cold in the way that it gets, in the kind of the main scenario. But it does get cold enough that people will start getting sick. And people start getting sick, and maybe even frostbite as well if you're not careful. And frostbite is when, you don't want people to get frostbite, obviously. Not ideal. Right, so it's just worth bearing in mind. Okay, so the administration's going to go there. I'm going to make that in the following day. I need, how many houses do I need? Just these ones. Perfect. Cool. And I am going to now make the cookhouse. And once those are gone, I will make the 2 medical posts. 5, actually. There'll be another one there. I will demolish one of them, though. I won't read these. You can read these yourself. So I'm going to send these guys back because they've got a nice amount of resources that they need. Again, with these things, you don't really need to rush them so much. Oh, I missed that road. I haven't. Oh, no, I haven't. They've just not made the road. That's very nice of you, isn't it? So now the temperature's going to drop, so I want to actually pull everyone off these resources. Some people, again, might disagree with me. I'm leaving there because I've only got 16 left. But when the temperature drops, I just don't... There's no point risking more people getting sick. One thing about gathering posts is if people are working in the gathering posts, they don't get as cold as if you're just kind of leaving people there. So it's just something to bear in mind. There we go, cool. So I've now got all gathering posts up. Houses are up. Oh, that one's not got a road to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with the administration and those medical posts. Show you what happens when you get your first influx of people. Then I'm going to jump ahead a couple of days to a save that I've already got prepared to show you it in more managed. Then we'll jump ahead a little bit further so I can actually show you the interaction that you get once you've fallen out with London. See, I'm not even working this. Just basically the big thing is you just want to prioritize the 2 things. And once you start having to send deliveries off to London, you don't need to send them as much. See, now I have to start. See, the reason why people are getting sick is because I don't have a generator. See, normally tents would be absolutely fine with this amount of this temperature. But because I don't have a generator, what's happening is people are just getting subtly more sick, and it kind of creeps up on you. You don't see it coming. I can't put one yet. That kind of... No, I'll have to wait for them to. And then that's even worse when you suddenly get an influx of another like 10 sick people. So it's one of those little you think, that's not too bad. It's not too cold. It's okay. And then suddenly you've got a load of sick people, and oh shit, I don't have any medical posts open, and oh god, one of them's gotten gravely ill now, and I have to just deal with that. And it's just, yeah. One thing I am a little bit obsessed about in this game is avoiding having gravely ill people. It really irritates me.
Brace yourselves. Cold is coming.
Yeah, so I'm only going to... Normally I don't have people working kind of just normal resource nodes like this without a building. However, just because there's 16 left, and I do need to get rid of this. See... There are 2 people assigned to that, but they're not there yet. That's just because... And that's why those 4 sick people aren't in there yet. They will get in there in a sec, though. Right, when that's gone, I can build the other 2. And I'll start cooking in a minute as well. When the sick people... Probably, yeah, I might cook today, actually. I'd maybe recommend starting to cook on the 2nd day. Oop. You can see the little generators at the back. Build 3. Just build 5. Trust me, build 5. When I first did it, I was like, nah. When I recorded this video before, and I was like, nah, I don't need to build 5. And then eventually I got 20 1 sick people because they were just lightly sick from the cold, and I was like, bugger. Right, so now I'm going to turn this on. And normally you don't need to max out these things, but you might as well. See, they're not even there yet. Get in, fuck's sake. Really makes me twitch a little bit when people don't actually visit the... Fuck's sake, I'm actually just going to take some engineers out of here. Fucking hate when they do that. Oh wait, what was? Really hate when they do that. Get in there, you bullbags. Actually, you might as well just... There we go, you shitbags. Okay, so now go this way. You may notice I haven't built another workshop. You could. I eventually have 2, because you do actually need your engineers for a few objectives. There we go, that's fine. There we go, so people are starting to get sick. So start cooking on the 3rd day. So now is when I want to, at the end of today, is when I'm going to build the administration, and then that will unlock the shipment coming towards me. But see, I haven't rushed it. I've got these all ready and prepped. And I will also have the houses ready as well. Right, so speaking of houses. Bunkhouses. Get your bunkhouses. And also, as you'll see in my day 17, you also want to get houses as well, because it does creep up on you. Off you go, dear. Thank you, love. Okie dokie. Right, and see, this is burning. This burns through these quite fast. Right, so now I've got some peoples. I'm also going to get an influx. So once those gathering posts run out, which goes down quicker than you'd realise, once the wood goes, basically, is when I actually then switch over to getting the sawmills. Again, see, I've got wood, but I don't actually need as much wood. Right, okay, so let's build. So I'm going to need... I actually know this off advance, so I'm going to put this in first. Because basically the end of day 4 is when they start moaning at you, and then they give you an ultimatum of 24 hours. So I just generally build it during the end of day 3. Well, you can even wait to day 4, but I do actually want that food. And as I already know, I'm going to get, I think it's 30 people. I think it's 30 people I get, so I'll just build those now. So look at this. Everything's prepped for a load of sick people. And it is all good. This will come in a second. They'll give me a wee scream at. And we can jump ahead. It is a cool looking building. There we go. Hello, Gorge. So there we go. And this is a new screen that you're going to have. This cheerful bloke here. They've sent you the children, which is unfortunate. This is odd. To be honest, actually, they're a complete boon. Because then you get eventually the children's house. And, yeah. Right, okay, so now this becomes unlocked. So this has Steam calls in it as well. Which you're going to get a message from them in a bit. You always want 20 people in this. Always, always, always. Oh, no. You want this running all the time. And you just send 100 steel and 2 steam cores back. I can turn that off now. So they're already going to send us. This will also come with a load of food as well. There we go. Right, so one thing that happens with New London is obviously your relationship, you probably guess already, breaks down because they, start getting a bit pushy very, very quickly, actually, I might add. And your people get a little bit pissed off. And then London tells you to fuck off. It's a whole dramatic thing. So I need to open one of these up now. I'm actually just going to I'll open 2 up because you're just going to need them. There we go. Yeah, see, the reason I've got sick people is just because I've got enough space for 20. Yeah, I'm literally going to need the 4th post. In fact, I'll turn it on when people get here. Let's rush to the morning. See, this is the first thing that will suddenly catch you, alright? So, again, I think when I first started playing, I was always in the notion, no, it's a waste to have that many medical posts. Honestly, I always have 4. Usually the way my bigger cities work on the kind of the main scenario, or like Endless or something, is I'll literally have, like, eventually an infirmary and, like, 2 medical posts either side of it, and then I'll have that exact thing somewhere else as well. Medical posts are great.
Get a move on. There's work to do.
Right, don't go that way. Go that way. I mean, to be fair, you could probably get the people right now. They'd possibly be beneficial, but you don't really need people yet. You do eventually need people, but you don't really need people until you come into contact with the settlements. Really? Because once all these sick people come back as well, you're like, oh, life's good. Right, so they're going to come in now. A load of sick people, and I'm probably going to have to open this one up now. I wasn't paying attention. Let's do that now. Let's take 1 person. Basically, every 5 of them with 2 in each one will be absolutely fine. Wait for it. Discontent will open. You'll get this little pop-up. Our kiddos have arrived. Lovely mutton chops for the guy there. I don't know if you saw that. And you get a load of sick people. Once they're treated, you're fine, and the temperature drops comes up again as well, so you're pretty hunky-dory. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead just a day or 2 more, and show you when these have mostly gone. One moment. Right, so here we are. It was actually day 7, not day 5. I got my days mixed up. As you can see, I'm down to about 12 sick people right now. One thing as well is because of the way that I staggered when I would eat, and also when I would send my shipments, I actually ended up getting a load of raw food. So once I'd cooked enough, which is actually 90, which actually didn't need to cook as much as I did, I then turned off my cookhouse again. So even though I've got raw food left, I only made sure that I cooked enough to feed everyone. So that's actually going to be able to feed everyone again one way through, which is quite nice. I can actually probably now, because I've only got 13 people, so if I turn that one and that one off... there's an argument to be made to use those engineers to buff some of these up a little bit, but I think in this instance is when I will actually get the second workshop up. That is weird. Normally I can place it next to the... Might have been the road is a little bit off this instance. I've probably pasted it a little bit closer this time. It's all good. I'll put it there instead. I'm really obsessed about where things go, in case you hadn't noticed. Cool. So I'm in a pretty solid situation right now. So we're going to start by sending... I'm building up the steel. So I actually got the steam cores ready. So when I started harvesting steel, I then switched over to my steam cores, and then I just continued. Because when you switch over to resource, you lose about an hour, and therefore it's just something to bear in mind. And so therefore I've got 3, because I'm going to send 2 back to London, and I'm also going to use 1 for myself. And also, when the shift starts, I'm going to use a thing. So temperature drops again. You're going to see the temperature's going to fluctuate quite a lot, so just bear that one in mind. I'm also going to build those bunkhouses in a minute once the steel comes up. Right, So eventually you will get access, soon actually, to extended shift. This one gets imposed upon you again, and then I have that running permanently. So you get these things called wooden supports, which cost 50 wood. Do not be afraid to use them, especially in the early stages. So you actually research those. Let me show you my research priority of what I've done. Haven't got heaters yet, though that's the next thing I'm going to be getting soon. So I got the sawmill. I obviously got drawing boards, got the bunkhouse. Got wooden supports, which gives you a 50% buff when you use them. And also hand carts, which just raises output by 20%. So I'm already getting, with that collectively, a 70% buff, which really shows steel just shoots up. Mixed crews, I probably might take if you just want to use up 10 wood just to quickly grab. But to be honest, I didn't find myself using it so much. And I will want to be getting lighter scout sleds. and heating as well. And that's something that even though the weird thing is I found that the first kind of 15 days flew by quite quickly. I want to get them basically before that hits. Really, I want heaters in place, and at least all bunkhouses. So let's do that one. It does look cool when they do that one next to them. I should build them next to them more often actually, because that looks badass. I usually build them opposite each other, just as a force of habit. So we're doing really, really well. Everything's fine. I've got a huge amount of food. So now that I still haven't unlocked more of the map from London. I'm going to show you one shipment in a sec. So I still haven't gotten another second group of scouts. But one of these ones is when I'll start getting more people. And then I'll do things like I will have, because I will actually have a coal mining thing there. And I will actually start trying to use more people. Beware, you will probably stock up and steal coal and wood quite sharpish. So you do actually want to get resource depots. Just initially, eventually you won't, and you will end up running out of both, or not having in the red for both. But it's better to at least have one resource post, potentially two actually. Alright, so that gathering post is dead now? Yeah, alright, cool. I'm going to shove those people in there. I usually have just one of these ticking away. I said, you've got about... I said, there's 400, but there, I think you get around... I think the total number of wood is around 1,000 or so. Right, once we've got our steel up, I'm going to send them... Because the temperature's going to go up soon. So I've got enough to soak up any sickness from not having bunkhouses. So I don't have to rush my bunkhouses just yet. So you've got options, basically. I might actually try and go for the lighter scouts now. Or actually... See, because I can't tend to go for mechanical calculators quite early. And there is an argument to be made that that might be a good thing to do. I usually do that, either go for the scouts now and then a mechanical calculators. The reason being is getting to here is where a lot of the good heating stuff, so you get improved heaters and heater efficiency. But also getting the steam coal mine and also coal optimization, you just don't have to worry about coal for ages. So I'm going to get mechanical calculators. It's also handy because it uses a load of wood that you may or may not at this point be kind of stockpiling up a little bit. So Abigail, look, sick people are going down now. We'll probably get a few more when we go to bed, but overall less. Right, so Crumbling Hut will have some people in it. One of them has a load of engineers as well, I remember correctly. So we've got a nice stockpile of food. So because of the way that I've staggered when people have eaten, it means that I haven't had to worry about people going hungry really, or even really starving. And it's all about just turning this off and on again. That's the big... there we go. Video over. Turn it off and on again. So I'm going to... Because I do want to show you at least one normal shipment. And then I'm going to jump ahead again about 10 days. And you can kind of... And then I can retroactively show you... Probably. See, I wanted to do it for this video to kind of show you guys kind of like... a nice efficient setup without necessarily forcing you down a particular path. A little pet hate of mine is sometimes the snow tracks don't disappear, and it really annoys me. Actually, I'm going to leave that road there because I'll need it. It's because it's not actively snowing. Sometimes you'll have little paths and they won't disappear, and it really bothers me. Right, okay, cool. So yeah, we're doing grand. We've also got a shipment of food coming in. So eventually, London will tell you that you're only getting supplies. It might actually be in a second, actually. You're only getting food when you send them supplies, which then you'll get a prompt to start looking for another settlement. At that point, you may not want to send them any more shipments. You don't really... I think I sent them about 3, maybe? I've sent them 2 or 1 right now. I'm going to send them 1 in the morning and then maybe 1 more. Oh, I've got 1 extra sick person, so I'll turn that back on. Bother you. This is why you keep these. Okay, hurry up, you. Get to work, you lazy shits. Exactly, get a move on. There's work to do. Thank you, announcement man. Right, so I am going to send them 1 more shipment. At least. Because that way I can... I mean, I've got loads of food actually stocked up. It's pretty neat. It's pretty great. There we go. Yeah, you will get a little bit of a warning, but it's fine because they're going to get the next one in a sec. Ah, and then you'll get the extended shift, which basically... This is permanently on extended shift now. I'll also use that again. There's an argument to be made to put these on as well. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I tend to do up my research. You don't need to, really. You're not as if you're in a rush, but I absolutely want that. Oi! Get to work, you shit. Fucking get to work, you shit. Pricks. Honestly, rude. Right, so we get some survivors now. I always escort them back. Why wouldn't you escort them back? So that's going to be... Is that 33 people I saw? Let's just check how much space I've got left. 0, so I'm going to need 4 houses. Ah, and we've got the shipment. Right, so basically it's right simple. You just do this. Shipment. If you're going to send one, send it quick, because the quicker you send it, the quicker you get the stuff back. So they're going to send that off, and then you will get food in return. Generally speaking, I think I send about 3 to them, but whenever you send a shipment, especially when you've got loads of food like this, generally you then want to make sure that the next 100 batch of steel is yours. So now, for example, I'm not going to send another shipment until I build all my bunkhouses. But I am going to build some tents first, just to soak up these people so they don't get mopey. There we go. It was 33, so I'm going to want another one there. Yeah, cool. And probably think about getting my thingy in now as well. Right, mechanical calculators. I'm going to go for the scouts now. It's because soon I will be prompted to actually start hunting down for food, and the sooner I get 1, a second batch of scouts, and 2, faster scouts, the better. But see, now mechanical calculators, I can beeline it straight to the steam coal mine. I don't need the coal yet, because the temperature's about to go up, and I've got quite a lot of coal. But you do want that steam coal mine quick. So basically, more scouts, lighter scouts, coal. That's pretty much my thing. And then also houses. And then I get a difference engine eventually, and I get house redesign. One of the things that I've noticed some people do is they're a bit scared of going down here a bit too quickly. You feel like, oh no, I need to do stuff before I go down. No. There's a big argument to be made to just beeline it and unlock everything, almost. And that way you can just go get the good stuff. Because some of these things, like having houses as early as possible, just means that people just don't get sick. And then people don't get disappointed. And then also, as well, getting, as I said, the steam coal mine and coal mining optimization, and eventually even the advanced one, and these ones, combined with having these things unlocked, absolutely fine. No one ever gets sick, and no frostbite, and everyone's just... And it just makes the whole thing work a lot more efficiently. Anyway, stop talking to yourself, David. Get more scouts. Gorgeous. Right, so now I start with the bunkhouses. I'm going to do all of them. I can do one more.
Time to rest. You earned it.
We are out of steel. Right, so what I'll probably do is I'll do one more in-game day, and then we will actually jump ahead. Ah, here we go. So here's where things start to break down. So now you're going to get a prompt in a minute to actually start looking for more food. In a wee bit. I think it's now anyway. There we go. So there we go. Now, to be blatantly honest, because I've got 119 food, you might want to send one more shipment over, but maybe not. So what I'm going to do, after these guys delivered these back, I'm going to go here, and there's here, and I think it's 3 places. And then you'll have to send a work crew over there, and then once you've established that, then you can start trading with the settlement. But once you've done it for the first time, then London's going to get really pissy at you. And that's when, you know, relationship breaks down. Can I take these off? Yeah, I can. Cool. We're going to get a load of engineers in a sec, so it's fine. Oh, actually, I've already... Fine, I'll open it back up again. Rude. People are getting a bit more sick. It's because I'm building houses. Oh. Fuck's sake, this is why you need these. There is an argument to be made that I probably should have waited until the morning. Because now I'm going to do this. And built them during the day. The reason being is because technically people are homeless. It's fine. Right now we cook that food for a bit. Bump. See, what I'm going to do, when I jump to my day 17, you'll notice that no one's sick and I've got full houses. Because, yeah, just keep these open and you're probably fine. Oh dear, I'm going to have to... Actually, there's a load of engineers coming. I'm going to use them. In a sec. In like 30 seconds. Or less, actually. There we go. Thanks, boys. Cool, so I've got a load of engineers now. There we go. Don't need that many, really, let's be honest. Okay, everyone nice and better. Gorgeous, there we go. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. So, that's the temperature's going up. So now before it drops there, I want everyone to have bunkhouses. Bunkhouses are great. I love a good bunkhouse. Keep an eye on your sawmill. And now that I've got some more people as well, I can probably end up having a sawmill over here. When you have wood. There we go. Thank you. I forgot about those guys. It's because I'm talking to you lot. Normally when you're playing, hopefully you won't be talking to yourself, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. There we go. So you got the scouts. Need to wait for a bit more wood. Wait a sec. It does make me twitch when I'm not researching something. Oh, there's some wood crates there. I forgot about them. Get in, lads. A whole 3 wood. Right. Oh, 30 wood. It's not 25. Cool. And this will just basically enable me to think. Then the next thing I'm going to get is that coal sorted out, and then the heaters and also the houses. Probably better. How many? Because I've got a few. 1, 2, 3. So I need 50 wood. So probably don't want to build that next one just yet. Oh, and we're gone. Actually, no, it's fine. I can build that now because people will not look at that, and it fits perfectly. There's an argument to be made, I keep saying that phrase, good lord, to actually just having 2 sawmills here as well, if you really need wood that fast, but to be honest, it's usually a thing that you don't need much of. So I probably want to maybe send one more, it takes time to switch over, one more shipment back. Right, okay, resources wise. So you can go straight to houses. Or again, there's mechanical calculators. I might do that after the next one. So if you go to the coal thumper now, because you've also already got the ability to make one, the coal thumper, the coal mine. I don't go to the coal thumper at all. Things I don't bother making, just the record as well. Coal thumper, why bother? Just go for coal mining, unless you've got a load of free people later on. And don't. Why would you go for the charcoal kiln? Don't do it. Don't. Stop that. Stop. And you don't need to get upgrades to the sawmill, really. You will absolutely use up all your wood way before. Right, so what I'm going to do, because, again, it's realistically, you're just kind of watching me just now play through it, but let's just kind of cover what I've done. So having a buffer of medical posts is a must, and it will just stop your people being gravely ill, and you just turn them off when they're not in use. Turning the food off and on again, like now basically in the next day, so basically like, oh, it's actually in now, but effectively in the morning is when I will actually, they'll start cooking, and therefore, and I'll basically keep an eye on that and only have, might cook all of that food, but maybe not, because I think that should come to about 150, so I'll basically turn it off when I've got enough rations for everyone, and then leave that food there. So only cook when people are actually getting hungry. As a side, don't wait too long because they'll start eating raw food and get sick. And also don't send shipments to London so early. Right, so I'm now going to jump ahead to about day 17. So about kind of, yeah, 8, just double the time where we are now. And I'll show you kind of where I am in kind of my quite strong mid-game. And then I'll also show you the other settlements as well. Right, so here we are on day 17. And things are looking very, very good. So I've got no sick people whatsoever. I've got, as you can see, a load of raw food rations ready. I've got 107 people because I've sent a few people off to do various tasks. I've got a steam coal, no, a normal coal mine actually, but I will be upgrading to a steam one quite quickly. I've got my 1 sawmill just slowly working on these trees because I don't really need, you can't actually gather those ones. And also everyone's in houses as well. So like it's minus 40, but everyone's nice and toasty and warm. Someone forgot to turn the heaters off. I don't know who that person was, but that person's a moron. So right now, as you can see, so the army warehouse is getting a little cold. I'm starting to work my way down here. And I will also be making the steam coal mine like now, actually. Realistically. I need a bit more steel. But I'll be doing that in a bit. Let's go. Yeah, cool. So basically that'll be one of the next things. So really, really important that I kind of highly recommend you focus on trying to get people houses. Your population won't boom really much beyond, I mean, if you look, I'm pretty sure I have loads. I have 23 vacant beds. So realistically, you won't be needing to build loads of houses. So you are an outpost and you will continue to look like an outpost. So having, you know, this kind of really strong core will just stop, like I've got 0 people. Like all of my, I've got this, I might even actually just turn that off and probably, because I've got an infirmary right there that's fully maxed with engineers. I'll probably potentially get another workshop open or even actually think about maybe getting a factory would be possibly a very good shout, because then I can start building automatons and I can have people that are working 24/7. So yeah, big shout. Just, if anything, the big things are just don't get complacent about the temperature and have that buffer for medical posts. Right, so here is the first settlement. which is hot springs. Now, the way it works is you'll establish one of these, which is a construction team. And the way they work is they cost 50 wood. That is really hard to read, by the way. I thought it was my glasses, but they've just made it impossible. But it's actually 50 steel and 10 workers, which is why you don't need to worry too much about population, because you will be sending... Basically, you don't want to build loads of, you know, resource depots and resource gathering posts and loads of sawmills, because you're going to need those workers to do other things. So these guys are off here because this is the second one, which is a shipwreck camp, which is where you get the wood. It's done by convicts. And there's another one here, which is the children's mine, which is where you get coal. So these are the 3 resource places. Incidentally, you're the steel one, they're the wood one, no, they're the food one, they're the wood one, and they are the coal one. And effectively, now what you're going to be doing, because I'm only on day 17, and I've got 15 days until... so basically I'm halfway through, I'm at the midpoint, more or less. I've got an incredibly strong setup right here. I don't really have to worry about temperature anymore. Even if I'm correct, yeah, I haven't even got advanced heaters yet, and many of the insulations, which I will absolutely be getting. I will be getting probably this, because it's not, in the grand scheme of things, not massive amounts of resources, and I'll probably get that probably even before the temperatures drop even more, and I just won't have to worry about temperature at all, because it goes straight back up anyway. So definitely don't neglect that. Now, the way, and this is why I don't want to give too much away, but the way the relationships work with these guys is you want to sort of prioritize giving them their upgrades. So this one right here is a more generalist, as I've gathered, a more generalist resource. So this is a repeatable one, effectively. These are actual upgrades, and you will want to be upgrading these. They give you more stuff, it just makes your situation a lot better, and also your relationship with them a lot better. With that in mind as well, you will get decisions affecting how you interact with these guys. I always default to making them happy, but you do you, I guess. And same with these guys as well. Those guys look scarier than they actually are. They're lovely. Oh, the axe, lovely. Look at that pickaxe, they're all friendly. I love the aesthetic of this place. Right, yeah, so this was a bit of a longer video than I was intending, but there was so much to cover, and I kind of wanted to show organically how the actual Outposters developed. It's just kind of like getting to the midpoint, so like kind of day 15 to 17, getting these houses, getting this set up in place. So like now I'm pretty much made for the rest of the scenario right now. This is one of the decisions. There we go. And you'll also say, see, favorably exhausted hot springs would displeased. I would always default to doing what makes the settlements, your allies, happy, because, you know, ultimately they are your lifeline. So let's just... Basically, it pisses your people off, but if you're, you know, running a good outpost, you don't have to worry about that too much. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I said a bit longer than I was intending, but there was a lot to cover. Hope you found that helpful. It was a little bit of a long video, so hopefully just mimic what I've done, or don't. But best practices, make your base look really nice. This is a different save, so for some reason I was able to squeeze that in there, but in hindsight it does look better when they're next to each other. As always, follow me on Twitter at norespawns. We'll have obviously more videos, always, forever, up soon. I'm getting my new computer on Saturday, unless the courier decides to not deliver it. I got an email today saying it has been fully built and tested, so this might potentially be the last video I render on this computer. I'm keeping this computer, but I just probably won't use it for anything other than if I want a LAN party or as a backup. So that's very exciting. So I will be streaming potentially on Saturday, depending on when the computer arrives, because I have to obviously install games on it. But yes, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I love you all. You take care.